Dial Models Workshop.
Hi, it's Yeji.
And Clint.
Hey, it's Larry. You are entering Models Workshop After Hours, a modeling podcast where we talk about miniatures, model painting, and we cuss a lot. If you can be offended, we're probably going to offend you. Then you're going to laugh, and you're going to feel bad. And then we'll offend you again, and then you'll laugh again. You see the pattern. So kick out, sit back, grab your brush, grab your paints, and get ready to have some fun. Hey everyone, and welcome to Models Workshop After Hours. This is Larry Yeji coming at you to make you laugh, cry, probably blush a lot, probably wonder why you're watching this, and laughing again. Tonight, we've got...
Yeji.
Clint.
And Rie.
Oh my god, who's that? Rie. She's actually a pretty long time member of Models Workshop. She's been around. We've been keeping her in the closet. We finally let her come out. So this is her coming out party. Yay!
Yay! I'm out of the dark now.
I can see clearly now. The lights are on. I got no more dusters in my way.
Well, if you guys have noticed, though, on Models Workshop, we've been releasing the what is it called?
Ask Rie.
Ask Rie feature. Hey, my brain's been all over the place the last couple of days.
Yeji, say that again, please.
What?
Say that again.
Say what again? Ask Rie?
Ask you what?
Asian.
I know, I'm kind of lost on that one, too.
Bad Asian joke.
Really bad. Like, M's are R's now.
Ask Rie what?
Oh, not funny. It's not even like, ha, funny. I
can hear the smile in your voice.
It's more of like a, what?
The confused. I don't even know this guy anymore. The Ask Rie feature where people write in and send us messages asking questions, and they can be from simple to a little more not simple. And like even confusion to terms, like what is someone actually brought up a good point yesterday. I was talking to him on Messenger, a phone call, one of our patrons. And he was like, oh, so drying retarder and flow improver aren't the same thing. You know, questions like that. A lot of people don't know that. You know, what is the difference between flow improver and drying retarder? And those are the type of questions that Rie fields and answers in like a Dear Abby type of way.
Yeah.
So there would have been one out yesterday, but I completely forgot what day it was. Like, no shit. I was like sitting there thinking in the truck, like, oh, I gotta get one of these out tomorrow. And then it dawned on me that it was already Thursday. It's like, oh, well, shit.
Well, it's been a crazy week, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's definitely been a week. Whole bunch of crazy shit happened from everyone. Some of it good, some of it bad, some of it just kind of eh.
Yeah. Do you wanna mention start off with that?
Want to start with the bad?
Might as well.
Oh, okay. So
that by the end we can have people laughing again.
No, hopefully.
But here in Las Vegas, we lost one of our gamers Wednesday early morning.
No, Thursday early morning, Wednesday night.
Wednesday early morning. It was Wednesday early morning.
Past midnight, so technically Thursday morning. But
okay, quit splitting fucking hairs.
Yeah.
What?
So he was returning home, and a group of 3 or 4 guys decided they really liked everything that he had, and sadly, some gunshots were involved, and he did not make it.
Aww.
On the good side of this, though, they've already caught one, and they have leads for the others. So hopefully there will actually be some closure on this one. One good thing about Vegas is there's a really, really good homicide crew.
And lots of cameras. Now, the bad part about this, the worst part about this is actually we never directly talked about the person, but we talked about the person quite often on this podcast. When Yeji was doing the Lehman Russ, and they were talking about the Thousand Suns and the Lehman Russ, and they'd keep going back and forth like, how much would you charge to paint it better than that? He was actually the guy who's commissioning for the Lehman Russ and the Space Wolves. So while we never mentioned him by name, we have talked about him quite a bit and quite often. And he wasn't just a commission person for you guys. You guys like went out to dinner with each other too, right?
Oh yeah. At the end of all of our gaming on Malifaux Tuesdays, we'd go out to dinner and we have fun and we sit, talk about anime and anything else that's coming up. So, I mean, it's more than just like a little gaming group type thing. We end up like really hanging out and doing lots of other things besides just playing games together. So it's kind of a crazy blow. He was one of those guys that as soon as you met him, you would never forget him.
Yeah.
He always liked to help. You could be in the middle. You'd have a rules question that you just kind of like muttered like out loud to yourself, and he'd be right next to you, be like, "Oh yeah, this is what it means, and this is how you do this and that." And he wouldn't be like invasive about it. He was there to help. He was a really cool guy.
Yeah. So, and
that's sad.
Yeah, that's hearing about the loss in the gaming community is tragic. I mean, and it's sad because it happens because we're relatively close knit. So when someone passes away, a lot of people are impacted by it and they hear about it. And it's like, wow, just like the guy who used to own White Wolf passing away a few weeks ago. And, you know, that was, I didn't know the guy's name, but I played his games. So I didn't even know the guy. I didn't even know who it was before he passed away, but he had a major impact on my life because I played his games growing up, and it's sad and it's horrible. You know, I've lost several of my close gaming buddies, so, and it's always just horrible.
Yeah.
But we'll move on to better news.
Yeah. So, okay, this one, it's going to sound like it's serious, but it's actually almost funny. And it's one of those, all right, so Spiky Bits, someone who I honestly rarely will ever turn to for real news, because typically his stuff is just clickbait, actually posted a really good article, kind of. And it wasn't his write-up that was bad. His write-up was actually really good. If he did articles like that all the time, I think a lot of people wouldn't have issues with it. But GW is currently being sued for like $63 million or $53 million or some ridiculously high amount of money. And that sounds scary on the surface until you actually read the lawsuit. Like they are, it's such bullshit. Like he is trying to sue to have all of their trademarks relinquished, none of which, let me reiterate that, none of which he is actually even a part of, on the grounds of the GW characters are similar to characters found in Starship Troopers and also in Lord of the Rings. And no one has ever denied that GW took inspiration from both of those sources, just like dozens of other people have. I mean, hell, StarCraft is inspired by Starship Troopers. That's why the game, well, there's actually more reasons why the games are so damn similar, but that's a topic of another day. But in all honesty, and like, it's funny as shit because he's suing them under RICO. He's suing them for terroristic, negotiation tactics. He's suing them for price fixing and everything else. But here's the deal. You're not forced to enter a contract with Games Workshop. You do so voluntarily. And whenever you enter a contract, you're entering a contract. It's up to you to see and negotiate the terms. If Games Workshop goes, we're not bending on any of these, then you either sign it or you don't. No one is twisting your arm. You do not have to order Games Workshop product. You don't. And on the rare chance you do and you don't want to enter terms with Games Workshop, you can order from Alliance. Alliance carries a lot of Games Workshop stuff. But he goes on about just a whole bunch of stuff, and he's suing him for that. The real kicker, the absolute kick in the balls, almost the most hilarious part is he wants a judge to relinquish all of their trademarks and copyrights to him to hold in trust as part of whatever, to issue out and then profit share the monies made from those licenses. So he wants control over what he believes are Tolkien's and Heinlein's copyrights so he can give them out to people where he sees fit and charge them. And And of course, he wants GW to pay him $50 million to do this. This is probably one of the dumbest fucking lawsuits I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, none of it makes sense. I really wish I could see the judge when he reads this. I really do. And like, he's suing individual people at Games Workshop. He's not just suing Games Workshop and Forge World. He's suing particular people at Games Workshop. And some people are like, oh, they better settle out of court or it's going to make them look bad. And I was like, did you actually read the court documents? They're available. 7 pages long. Doesn't even take a long time. Go read them. They're fucking hilarious. And no, GW does not need to settle out of court because this is the dumbest shit ever. And like, everyone agrees. It's stupid. It's a farce. The dude has no case at all. Like, truly. Because it comes down to, do you have to enter a contract with Games Workshop? No. Do they radically change their terms after you enter a contract with them? No. They're pretty upfront with their bullshit from the very get-go. You know what you're getting yourself into. And you either get into Games Workshop or you don't. Simple as that. You don't have to. I know several gaming shops that don't deal with Games Workshop, and they're doing just fine. So, yeah, that happened about a week ago, and I had like 10 people message me. I almost recorded an episode for the podcast in the middle of the week and published it because I was getting so many messages about this lawsuit.
Well, and apparently Spikebits did a interview with the guy that filed the lawsuit too, and it didn't add a whole lot of credence or credibility to everything that's going on. So
yeah, the entire deal is just dumb. I couldn't believe that it even made it as far as it did.
Well, I think he's getting in trouble too because he didn't file it the right way.
Well, if it's not filed the right way, then they're supposed to just simply kick it back to the person with what's wrong so they can fix it. So, supposedly this guy is an attorney, which is probably a good thing because I don't think any actual lawyer would touch this. And it sounds like a person who got a law degree simply to, I don't know, do bullshit like that.
To just make stunts and do stuff to, I don't know, cause waves, get publicity, that kind of thing.
Right, exactly. So what has everyone been up to these last couple of weeks since we recorded? Or in Rie's case, ever.
Ever.
Actually, you know what?
I got a new job.
Pause a second. Rie, introduce yourself to our listeners. Actually, tell us who you are and your experiences and all that other good stuff. And tell us what you think you're going to be bringing to the table here on the podcast. Because she's actually a permanent member, so you'll be hearing her a lot.
Put me on the spot. Ugh.
Damn right.
We gotta get some commitment from you, jeez.
I know.
Her hubby actually went out and bought her a Yeti microphone. I think, honestly, he just wants some video gaming time on Friday night. So he's like, here's a microphone. Go record with your friends. Leave me alone.
Get out of my hair.
Yeah. So she came up. She's like, oh, my God, he bought me a Yeti. And I was like, wow, what the hell did he do wrong?
And surprisingly, it was nothing. And I didn't get like a huge box of Kickstarter games either, where he's like, oh, I bought these. Oops, sorry. Here's a Yeti. No, so my full name is Cherie, but I go by Rie because I hate being called Sherry. So that's kind of
Cherry berry.
Yeah, I don't. It's just one of those things from childhood. I hate it.
Now I know what to call you when you make me mad.
Oh, no, you know what's worse is if you call me Missy, and that's a story for another time because it would probably take a good half an hour. We
have the time.
I know, but the listeners don't want to hear that just yet. I assure you that it's for another time.
I don't know if it's funny and juicy enough. They might actually want to hear it.
Maybe.
All right, how about this? If you want to hear it, message us over on the Facebook page, or leave us a message in the discussion group. Just go to Facebook and type in Models Workshop Miniature Painting Discussion Group or Models Workshop Painting Group, and leave us a message there and tell Rie that you want to hear the story behind it.
Yep, the juicy details why being called Missy is the worst thing in the world to me. Anyway, so I've been painting, I don't know, about 3 years now. And it started off with Mice and Mystics. My husband bought that game and I'm like, we should paint these. These are boring. And it literally spiraled out of control from there. I fell in love with it and, had been following Models Workshop. Didn't know Larry, didn't know Yeji. So I was just kind of trolling in the background and did as many conventions and painting classes as I could. And it kind of leads me up to today, where I just try to immerse myself in whatever culture I can and in groups that I can. Certainly not a professional by any stretch of the imagination, but I know a thing or two about a thing or two.
If you're getting paid for it, you're a professional.
Then I am a super professional.
Are we talking about painting or street corners?
Yes.
There are no or questions in here.
No, I do have a clientele, and I have
Whoa.
one customer.
Oh, that doesn't even fucking sound right.
Hey.
I think we definitely know which one you're talking about.
And I'm the one with the free street corners, man.
They ain't free anymore.
No, I have a couple of good customers that I pretty much exclusively paint for them. And my good buddy owns our friendly local game store. So he'll hand me a bunch of different minis and I paint them up and he sells them for their Pathfinder group. And, it's more of a convenience for them. They get just a quick tabletop mini that they don't have to paint and they love it.
So they get a quickie?
They get a quickie.
Nice.
They love my quickies.
Honestly, that just makes your game store owner, your John.
No, you're Pimp, not John.
Not Pimp.
John is the person that comes to them.
Oh, my bad. I should have asked you first since you're the subject matter expert.
Exactly. Get it right.
Yes, mistress.
Damn right.
Oh, if you hear random outbursts and cussing, I apologize. I fell down the stairs going into my studio earlier today. Honestly, other than a little bit of rug burn on my elbow and my knee, the only injury... I didn't say what I was doing when I fell down the stairs. The only injury that I actually got was I sprained the absolute living shit out of my middle finger. Yeah,
I told you being round is a dangerous shape.
Honestly, if I was a little more round, I would have just rolled down the fucking stairs instead of bouncing down each individual stair like boing, 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 boing. I definitely got some goddamn buoyancy going on, but I sprained the living shit out of my middle finger, and it really hurts to even move. So if you randomly hear me go, fuck, I probably moved it. So just to let you know.
That the random fucks aren't just the Tourette's.
The random fucks aren't the normal random fucks that people hear whenever they're listening to the podcast. They're random
Larry
fucks
has
because
extra fucks to give today.
Yes, Larry definitely. And I love it. So I posted up and I'm like, hey, I fucked up my hand, or I fell down the stairs and I sprained my finger. And they're like, well, what are you supposed to do to if someone pisses you off and you need to flip them off? I was like, well, you can definitely tell you've never hurt your middle finger or any finger at that, because holding the fucker up is not a problem. It's putting it down at this point. Fuck you is in full effect. All right, continue, Little Miss Sunshine.
No, that's pretty much it. I haven't had as much time to paint as I'd like to right now because I'm kind of transitioning between jobs.
Because you're an adult?
I have to adult. Yeah. But the only other exciting thing is kind of the thing that I'm working on right now, and that's I'll actually more or less be a studio painter. Can we call it that? I'm painting up some minis that are going to go on a Kickstarter page. And they'll be like, the official minis for this particular game. And I don't know how much I can say about it, so... Did
you sign an NDA?
I did not.
Then you can say everything.
Say whatever. Plus, it'll be promoting their Kickstarter anyways.
Though I will say that even if you did not sign an NDA, technically they can't sue you. It just also means that they might never hire you again.
True.
Oh, well, it's my buddy, and we haven't even agreed on pricing yet. So
I don't think more than likely, if it's okay, if it's a smaller studio, more than likely it'll probably be on the realm of it's publicity.
Yeah. Well, so it is for Minion Games, and they are doing an expansion on Kickstarter for their game, and I'm sorry because I can't think of it off the top of my head, Dead Men Tell No Tales. I usually just call it the pirate game and ask my husband if we can play the pirate game.
So this was the original one on Kickstarter?
The original one was on Kickstarter. They're
so
doing
if you want to see a little bit more on the miniatures, you can actually go look it up.
Yep. Because they're not done and they haven't actually put the expansion on Kickstarter yet, there's really no information.
Right.
But yeah, the original characters that are in the game are now awesome little 28 mil minis. And because I'm good friends with James and my husband's good friends with James Math, the owner of Minion, he kind of just handed me the Forge World box and said, "Here, paint this. We'll take some pictures and throw it on the Kickstarter." So,
alrighty then.
Yeah. Let me know how much I owe you at the end of the day.
$1 million. That's always the answer.
Tree fitty.
Tree fitty.
Dirty tree fitty?
Nah, just tree fitty.
0000.
Gotta be dirty. Anyway.
I don't know. James is kind of cheap.
I don't know.
You're missing a few zeros after that 350.
Probably.
So James, if you're listening to this, you better pay her well, or I'll come find you.
She'll straight up cut a bitch.
Nice.
I'm gonna be her backbone for a while until we have Rie grow one herself.
That's gonna take a lot. I don't think I have the capacity to actually do that.
Oh, you do, girl.
Trust me, just hang around us for a while. You'll be telling people to go fuck off before you know it.
Nice.
Which also, too, though, Rie, aren't you color deficient?
I am. I have a red-green color deficiency.
Which, if you didn't know, in females is actually incredibly rare.
Super rare.
So she's super unique.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And this is where I go, if we really wanted to do our own colorblind group, and it was something that we actually wanted to pursue, we actually could now, but it's not something that we never actually wanted to pursue ourselves.
Larry's like this old lady, like he can't let anything go, by the way.
Well, I can't let stupidity go, and that was pretty fucking stupid. Honestly, of all things to get pissed off or worried about me for, is that I'm trying to steal your group with 130 people in it that I got most of the members for when I have like 5,000 things going on. That's just spells out duh to me. Sorry.
Anyhow, so
it's not about letting it go. It's just dumb.
If anybody has questions about red-green deficiency, I know everyone's different, but at least we have someone that can relate.
Absolutely.
And we work with her a lot, too, about different things that can actually help her out. So she'll be able to pass that advice along, too. So that's also for Ask 3 feature. If you have deficiencies such as that and are having a hard time, you can give her a buzz and ask her, like, hey, how do you deal with this?
Absolutely.
So, Yeji, Clint, what have you guys been working on in the last 3 weeks?
I have actually painted. I've been doing the Cthulhu Wars things on Tuesday, which next Tuesday, like after this comes out, the day after, their Kickstarter ends, and they have some cool models.
I was going to say, and we've actually talked about a couple other miniature lines that we may be, instead of doing Cthulhu Wars on Tuesdays and on my Saturday hangouts, moving on and doing some other paint lines, such as Bombshell, because Keith has been like super fucking amazing. So getting some camera time for him, I think would definitely be a good thing. So just because of Cthulhu,
needs to do a Bombshell.
I know I need to do a Bombshell, so I'll probably be hopping on sometime next week with one.
Yeah, so just because the Cthulhu Tuesdays are ending doesn't mean the Tuesdays are ending. It just means that the topic will be changing, and I'll be doing the same thing. And for people who don't know, I do Saturdays. Usually there's not a set time, but probably around 8 o'clock, I usually will try to hop on and I'll paint for a few hours, do some airbrush stuff, and you can feel free to hop on It's going to be the Saturdays before the podcast comes out. So by the time you hear this, I've already done mine. It's going to be tomorrow. So,
So we have Tuesday night Twitch and
every other Saturday Twitch.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Either every other Tuesday Twitch, because weekly has been kind of rough.
We're going to get a schedule on the website of when we're planning on being on. So we so we feel kind of obligated.
You can alternate it with other people.
Yeah, I might do the every other Saturday, actually.
Okay, so we might work it out where every Saturday you'll have a models workshop, but one Saturday it'll be Yeji. The next Saturday it'll be me. Hell, one Saturday it might be Rie, because she also has a webcam, so maybe she can smoochy to her hubby, and he can pick her up a 920C webcam so she can actually do this stuff too. And I'll show her on top of building her light arc. I will also build her a camera mount that is on a swivel arm, just like mine is, so she can get the over desk shots like a pro.
I'll have a super baller studio.
Super baller.
And then I've also been working on my night models commissions, which have been going fairly fast.
Yeah.
I'm on my third one of those.
Yeah, and they're coming out pretty damn nice, too.
Feel kind of bad. It's going by so fast. He's waited.
I know, he's waited all this time, and it's going by real quick here.
He waited 6 months for me to start, and I finished in 4 days.
Yeah, pretty much. Not 4 days, but, you know.
It's pretty, but that's
pretty close.
Kind of how it happened. So what about you, Clint?
I have been working... Well, I finished up what I was working on, and now I'm working on some basing, which I'm not all too familiar with. I don't really do basing a whole lot, but I'm working on getting 2 bases completed and another girl finished up for ReaperCon coming up in October. So I'll have 2, maybe 3 entries. I'm still debating if I want to try to put a third one in. And well, if I do, what the third one's going to be.
If you get 2 done, just work on the damn third one.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. But, like, the bases are coming around kind of nice. I like one of them a lot, and the other one needs just a little bit more something. I just don't know what. So, it needs something. Like, there's an area that doesn't look, I don't know, polished, I guess. That
doesn't look like it's painted.
Literally put, like, the plastic plants and stuff on there, so I should probably, put some paint on them.
Right.
Though that was an amazing find that we had over at Michael's.
What was that? Oh, all those plants?
Yeah. And it's not, because, like, you don't even have to cut them off. I thought you'd have to, like, snip them off. They just pull off.
The ones that look like carpet?
Yes.
Carpet tiles?
Yes.
Those are cool.
They just pull freaking right off. And they look really nice. And they're going to be featured in a lot of terrain here pretty soon, because that's the majority of the terrain pieces that we kind of have to make things. Which I need to get some tall grass to kind of go with this graveyard scene that I'm doing. But that one's coming on. That one's probably my favorite one right now.
There's a company that sells... Let's just knock everything off my desk. There's a company that sells different length static grass that I'm trying to actually figure out where it's from. I should probably just email the channel that uses it and ask him where he orders his.
There's a whole website that we had saved. It
wasn't Woodland Scenics. It was something Scenics.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what I should do? I should just talk to Ray, because I know he has some.
Yeah, but supposedly, I guess you get it in like these half-pound bags, and it's actually pretty affordable.
Oh, God.
That'll last you like a lifetime.
I was going to say, that's like 6 lifetimes worth, unless you're doing 10 armies a month.
Well,
that's a lot of grass.
The guy who does it, he does train dioramas. He's a guy that I watch a lot on YouTube, because a lot of the stuff that he does for his train dioramas seriously just easily transfers over to miniatures too. So I watch him. So yeah, he uses a metric fuck ton of static grass.
Does he got long hair and wear glasses? Because I think I watch the same guy.
It's Boulder Creek.
Maybe not.
Well,
I can't remember.
Watching the same guy? Is it in the same room?
And we're sitting next to each other? What? Huh?
Breathing heavily? Like all nerds are apt to do at one point or another.
But other than that, that's all I've been working on. because I want these to do fairly well. I'm shooting for gold, but being realistic and hoping for silver.
That's always good. But don't be discouraged no matter what you actually get.
As long as I don't get participation award, I'm cool.
Here you go. You're a millennial.
Yeah,
Here's a participation.
I don't want the millennial prize.
Millennial.
I can do without the millennial prize.
Oh, so this past Monday and Tuesday, I went to a women's leadership conference. And I actually now kind of own that I am a millennial.
Really?
Yeah.
It took you...
No, because millennials like to work all the time and play all the time.
So they mix work and play all the time.
Your personal life and your work life are one and the same.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So millennials have their phone on 24/7. They're on Facebook 24/7. They're on, they're taking phone calls 24/7. Yeah, that's fucking me.
Oh, I don't like that because that means I actually lean more towards the millennial side of things.
That's a generalization. That's like reading a horoscope saying, you're going to have a day today. Great, so is everybody else.
I hope I have a day today.
Hey, there's only 2 days that aren't 24 hours in someone's life.
The day they're born and the day they die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you
What
better
happens
have
if you
day.
die at midnight, fucker?
If you die at midnight, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You still had a full day the day before.
Yeah, but you only had 1 minute of the day.
Okay, what happens if you die at like 11:59 then, smartass?
Then you had 23 hours and 59 minutes.
You can't have it both ways.
Oh, I
You
can
can't have
both.
it.
I can have my cake and eat it.
You can't have 23:59, meaning you only had 23 hours and 59 minutes of your day, and dying at midnight. Oh, you had a minute into the next day. That type of slipstream does not exist. Sorry, but it just doesn't.
Have you been through the military recently?
Yes, I have. We're still not breaking into the fourth dimension. It's not like a cubic acre, ass.
It could be.
No, it's not. It's Luke Cowan, and he owns Boulder Creek Railroad. But yeah, if you're not subscribed to him, seriously, Luke Towan, Luke space TOWAN. He doesn't come out with a lot of videos, but the videos he does come out with are like 20 minutes long of pure fucking modeling orgasmic goodness.
Nice. The guy that I was thinking of...
Stop staring at me!
Oh, wow. The guy that I was thinking of does Terranscapes. And it's TERRAN.
Children, don't make me separate you.
No, I have ice.
Larry's going to kill you because he's going to see it.
Yeah, you're going to see it because
She's
I have
chewing
ice and I'm
ice.
chewing ice.
Oh, you fucking bitch.
I can't help it.
I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna like pull up her thing, and y'all probably don't hear, but there'll be like little spikes every 3 seconds of click, 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 and I'll be able to hear it. It was funny. Like, okay, so remember when my mic became unplugged and it switched over to the microphone on my webcam? I had like 4 people message me like, "Hey, dude, if you hadn't have said anything, I wouldn't have been able to tell." And I'm like, "What?" I was sitting there cringing the entire time when it switched over. I was like, "That's great. I'm so glad that you're telling me that we've bought all this very expensive equipment and y'all can't tell anything."
That's okay.
I'll go back to recording on a potato.
Oh, we
But
can go back to the
Yeti, I
normal?
could have just used a potato? Damn.
Yeah, but you still wouldn't have known how to fucking select it in Skype.
Okay, so, in case anybody needs to know, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box.
She's about a warm brown.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're doing. I hop on an hour before the podcast because Little Miss Sunshine here is new to the podcasting world, and I was like, you know what? Let me hop on so we can go ahead and snip. Make sure they're not recording off their webcam or anything like that. I don't know why I would check on that, but I'm like, all right, so this is what you need to do, because Skype has this really bad issue of if you don't deselect the option, it will automatically adjust your volume throughout the entire podcast, which is not horrible, but it's a pain in the ass when it comes to editing, because at one point you'll be really quiet, and then at the next you'll be normal, then loud, and then it's a pain in the ass. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, so go to tools. I don't see it. I was like, to the very top. It's second from the right next to help. She's like, I don't see it. Mine looks like the phone application. I'm like, what? The fuck do you mean it looks like the phone app? So she takes a picture of her screen and sends it to me on Facebook, which actually is pretty ingenious. I'll give her. I teased her a little bit about that, but when she did, I was like, oh, okay. Well, it actually makes things pretty easy. And I'm like, where the hell is this? What the hell? She's like, well, I'm downloading Skype right now.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you talking to me on Skype if you're downloading Skype? She's like, oh, I launched using the web application.
I didn't know I was going to have to change settings. I was like, oh, I'm just going to launch
I was
this.
like, oh, okay. Well, that would explain why, the app, the software that I'm trying to tell you to adjust the settings on doesn't exist, because you're not using the fucking software.
Hey, she figured it out at least.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then she goes, hey, my call may drop when it switches. Bloop. It's like,
gone. It was gone.
so, but we were able, she launched it, got signed in, and then miraculously tools appeared. I was like, imagine that. So we went in and disabled it. It was a miracle. Oh my God. Did y'all see what happened to poor JT?
Yes.
All right. So
guy,
it's been,
he just needs to find a friend who cuts hair and just religiously go to them.
what?
I saw something else. Hold on, go on. What happened with JT?
JT could not go into his house for
Okay.
over 24 hours.
Okay,
All right. So,
I saw that, but there was nothing I saw on Instagram. So, but yeah.
there was an active shooter and hostage situation in his apartment complex. And he actually doesn't live in a bad area, but it lasted forever. Well, JT has a Great Dane. They weren't letting anyone go in or out of there. And JT's boyfriend was trapped in the building. JT was trapped outside of the building. And JT's boyfriend was trapped inside the building.
They're not.
No, they're just roommates.
They're just roommates.
Are they?
Yes.
I thought they were dating.
Nah.
No.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Fairly, like 99.9999%.
Now I'm like going to message JT like, hey, is the guy you're dating? No, I seriously thought they were dating. Like,
No. At least, not that I know of.
well, I don't know.
They're just
Whenever you
roommates.
see, when you got the odd couple, I mean, not the odd couple, Three's Company, you assume that Jack's dating one of the girls. JT, I just kind of figured he was dating the guy that was in the apartment with him. My bad. But, okay, so his roommate, not boyfriend, was trapped inside the building with a, 160-pound Great Dane, and they couldn't go out. Not so much a problem for the dude. Big problem for the puppy.
Oh.
So, to the dog's credit, she held it the entire time. So,
And it was over over 24 hours.
yeah, JT was sitting there I don't know if I'm ever going to... He's like, I live on the other side. Well, you might get hit by stray rounds. He's like, at this point, I would rather risk getting hit by stray rounds than dealing with what the Great Dane is going to leave me if I leave her in there too much longer. Because you might get hit with a straight round. You wait too much longer, you are definitely walking into landmines. And we're talking anti-tank.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was... I was just like, holy fuck, what the hell is going on with Las Vegas? Between your friend, between what was happening with JT, and if you don't remember, JT is the guy who used to be at my local gaming shop and moved to Vegas and ended up... well, they eventually met through me, but they had actually met prior to actually becoming friends at another function and didn't know that we all had me in common. Whether that's a good thing or not, that's to be argued.
Did everyone start singing It's a Small World?
Yeah, it's a small world.
Don't make me shake a bitch. Come on now.
I can't do it too much or the fucking mouse is going to be coming down and go, copyright, motherfucker.
Oh, speaking of copyright, motherfucker, what about LeVar Burton?
Oh my God. I did not get a chance to read up on that case, but from what I was told, that's another one of those lawsuits that make you go, what? He's being sued because he used a catchphrase that he said 1 million times on a television show that he was the star of, Reading Rainbow, on a podcast that wasn't associated with Reading Rainbow. So they're suing him for that. But the really fucked up portion about the entire lawsuit is he owns Reading Rainbow now. At the time he didn't, but now he does. And I kind of go, that would be like suing Shatner for saying a catchphrase off of Star Trek. Or suing Clint because he talks like Shatner. That's kind of how the situation is. It's like, I was like, one, do they hold a copyright to that phrase? Or not copyright. Have they trademarked that phrase? If yes, proceed to next step. How was it used? Who used it? Oh, the person who used it was the guy who was the star of the show, and he was the guy who said the phrase all the fucking time on the show. And he was talking, and I think, if I remember right, the interview was actually about how he was trying to buy the Reading Rainbow. And then he eventually went on to buy the Reading Rainbow. And now after the fact, the guy is trying to sue him for saying the segment because at the time it belonged to him. And I was like, I don't think that's how that works. I seriously think that once you sell the show to another entity, you kind of give up your rights to sue someone for trademark infringement on said show. And in all honesty, I kind of want to be the judge in that case.
They just probably want a piece of the pie, dude. It's
a not-for-profit. Like, seriously, Lamar Burton doesn't really make any money. He invests everything. He wants a piece. Fuck that dude. That's just a greedy, shicey fucker.
I think people just like the publicity on stupid shit. That way they can walk around and be like, yep, I was the guy that won the lawsuit against Reading Rainbow.
He's not. No.
Well, you know what I mean.
If he fucking wins the lawsuit on the Reading Rainbow, then there is absolutely no justice in the fucking world because Lamar Burton owns the Reading Rainbow now.
Right.
So he's being sued by someone who doesn't own the trademark, and he's suing the person that, if the trademark exists, owns the trademark. That type of circular knowledge and bullshit literally makes my head hurt. The guy who owned the trademark is suing the person who owns the trademark because they used it. But yeah, that dude's just a dick.
Yeah. I thought it was just kind of crazy seeing that it was up there and what it was over. It's like, even that catchphrase, a lot of people end up saying it. I mean,
is it trademarked? Is it even trade? Well, okay, what was the catchphrase again?
I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Let's see how the end of this lawsuit goes, because if Burton wins, we'll go ahead and say it. If not, then maybe not. Because I don't think Lamar Burton's going to say it, because I donated, whenever he did the Kickstarter for the Reading Rainbow app and the Reading Rainbow television show that was getting put into schools and everything else, I donated to it. And I donated for no reward. I just donated to it because I'm a
good person.
No, I grew up on the Reading Rainbow. I don't remember him as Geordie LaForge. I remember him as the Reading Rainbow guy as growing up. He just happened to become LaForge later on, and it was one of those deals where I was an avid reader growing up, so him doing Reading Rainbow, that is an integral part of my life, and it's a travesty to have that lost on the generation that's out now. So whenever he talked about bringing it out and bringing it back to school and everything else, I was like, fuck yeah, I couldn't donate a lot, but I donated what I could. Him and 321 Contact and shows like that's where I got my start. And I think this generation losing out on something like that is just horrible. So yeah, I donated to it. I know a lot of people who did. Like, one of my friends donated $200 to have a voicemail recorded by him. Like, hey, you've reached the phone of so-and-so. This is da-da-da-da from Reading Rainbow. Please leave a message after the tone. She donated like $300 to get that. Partly because it's pretty fucking awesome, I'm not going to lie. But also simply for the fact of it's the Reading fucking Rainbow. And the fact, what pisses me off is it's not the fact that you're suing someone because they actually took away from you. You're suing someone who has given a lot to a lot of people, and by suing him, you're taking away from those same people. You're taking away from my kids. You're taking away from the kids in my kids' school. You're taking away from the kids in Brandon's school down in Louisville who may not be able to afford much of other stuff. So yeah, that pisses me off a little bit. And it's not just because it's a stupid lawsuit, which it is. It's for the fact that it's pure greed and there's no winner to this. yeah, you might win some money, but you're not a winner. You're absolutely not a winner. You're a fucking loser. You're taking money out of kids. You're taking money out of something that gives stuff to kids. And that's no bueno. So, but anyway, sorry to stand on my box again. I know people are like, you stand on your soapbox too damn much, Larry. But yeah, that was a stupid lawsuit. If that goes anywhere, and more than likely it's going to be like, okay, pay the man $1,500.
What was that?
I said, if it goes anywhere, it'll be like, pay the guy $1,500, some token, so he can't bring it back to court. There's ways judges can do stuff to fuck with people, too. Or he could just, dismiss it with prejudice, where the guy can't sue again?
Yeah.
Or without prejudice. One of the two, if it's dismissed with prejudice or dismissed without prejudice, you can't sue again for it. So, but yeah, that, in the realm of stupid lawsuits, So, any cool Kickstarters going on?
Yes.
Bones?
Other than the big one. We'll talk about that one last.
Other than that one, I have not seen. Oh, I backed one that was shoes. Custom-made shoes that feel like sneakers on the inside.
Is that fund already?
No, it takes another 25 days to fund.
Okay. Well, I think, did you mean, has it met its funding goals?
It has met its funding goals, but it has not finished the campaign.
Oh, one thing I saw is that, okay, in the realm of Kickstarter, there's 3 miniature companies that, there's one in particular that really does it, and there's a couple others that are borderline almost abusive to the Kickstarter system, and none of them are funding really big this time. We talked about the Cool Mini or Not Kickstarter on the last podcast, and surprisingly, it is funding a lot slower than it did any of the other games. Maybe it's the game and people are just not into it, or maybe it's
surprisingly, huh? No, I think people are figuring out that they're in it for the money.
Well, like I said on the last podcast, you're effectively taking the risk out of it for them. At a certain point, they really should be producing and pulling games out of their own pocket and pre-selling them like a normal company does. And if they lose money, they lose money. By Kickstarter, you just basically take all the risk out of it. They can't lose money at that point. And you, as the player, are doing a discredit for yourself because you're buying something that's not reviewed, that has no real chops to it. The only thing that you see is produced by the company itself. You don't have board game reviewers, companies like us or Skirmish Supremacy or any of those guys being able to sit down, play the game, and tell you whether it's actually good or not. And that's a travesty. You're breaking the system, and that's not what Kickstarter is supposed to be. And we've been pretty damn clear that the reason Kickstarter lets it happen, because technically that's actually against Kickstarter rules, but they get a piece of that pie. They get 5%. So whenever something funds for $3 million, they get 5% of that $3 million. So they're going to look the other way on projects like that. But Cool Mini or Not, their latest project actually isn't funding that well. So it's kind of surprising.
Oh, another one's going on, though. Brian's third Kickstarter's out.
Oh, is it? Hold up. Is this a relaunch or is this a...
It's a new set of 3 minis.
He's only doing... Okay. I have not seen this.
And there's a bust.
Yeah, and there's a bust.
Okay, so I haven't seen them. What do they look like?
The 2 boys that are in there, I'm not so fond of. But the girl, because she's kind of how my ranger looks for my D&D campaigns that I usually, or when I do D&D campaigns, this is how she usually looks.
Mm-hmm.
So, therefore, I have backed it.
All right.
Trying to find the thing here.
See, I'm looking through miniatures Kickstarters, and we have got Cartoon Miniatures have come out with a new one, which is actually being published under Wendy's Miniatures. And, okay, that's interesting. Hidden Dreams. See, it's little ones like this, like Hidden Dreams, who you don't see doing a lot of stuff that need $3,000 or $4,000 to get their product off the line. that's the type of stuff that I like seeing on Kickstarter, because that's kind of what Kickstarter was for. Stove and Haven miniatures. Okay, so the modular magnetic gaming miniatures by Hand of Glory. It'll be over by the time this podcast comes out. I've seen their advertisements all over Facebook. And they've actually funded pretty well. They're at 1,500% of their funding goal. They're at 155,000 and they only wanted 10,000. But it's funny because they show, all right, for $20 you get a hero of your choice and 15 accessories with the rare earth magnets and the steel rods included. So effectively you're buying, I don't know. From a person who's been magnetizing minis forever and a day, I kind of look at this like, what the fuck? It's like, just learn how to magnetize your own damn miniatures and you got this Kickstarter. But, apparently people are liking it, so cool. That's cool.
Oh, the cartoon miniatures are going on right now, too.
I mentioned that. That's by Wendy's Miniatures.
Oh, I didn't realize that was that.
Yeah, I didn't either until I saw cartoon miniatures. And those actually look pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's a game called Magic of Legends. Without delving too deep into it, it's at 94%. Needs 30,000 to fund. The miniatures look pretty cool. It's coming out of China. Actually, I'm kind of surprised something like this hasn't funded already. It actually looks pretty neat. Yeah, the miniatures kind of look basic. But you get a lot of them for the money. It's $90 for the base package, and you get a lot of minis. But they do look very, very basic. This is definitely a board game. This isn't even something that is, yeah. So, let me go look. He's already funded, so that's kind of neat. Okay, Shin is back, because why not? Isn't this the third campaign that Shin has been in?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Shin has been in something before.
Probably the failed one.
No, it was a stretch goal on one of the ones, I believe.
Okay, I think these are actually all old stretch goals that didn't make.
I don't think Dayani was.
Okay, but I know I've seen Absolute Valentine, and I like Shin. I actually like Shin. That was one of the miniatures that I had mentioned whenever we were talking previously. Absolute Valentine, I can see where you either like it or you don't. He looks kind of like a blindfolded dude off of Boondock Saints. Diane, I actually dig Diane. The amount of detail in it is pretty damn nice. It honestly looks like something a ranger out of either WoW or a chibi version of a ranger out of WoW or EverQuest. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, and that's usually how my girl's usually blonde, but she's like the chibified version of my D&D character. So I'm like, oh.
I don't like the bust. I really don't like the bust. I don't think it actually, in my mind, meets what is a bust. I think you'd have been better off putting another chibi there. And I'm a bust painter. And I look at that and I'm like, it's a miniature chopped in half. That's not a bust. Honestly,
I can see that, but a lot of busts are kind of coming out up to the belly button too. So
yeah, but a lot of my busts are to the belly button. They don't have arms. Busts typically don't have arms. So her holding a shield and having a blade on a fist is really kind of throwing the entire model off as being a bust.
Some busts do have their arms and stuff, though.
Not many, though. Not many at all. Your typical bust.
All of Neko Galaxy girls, they all have their arms.
I don't know.
Shield Maiden.
Yeah.
I just personally.
Yeah, it does remind me of that Shield Maiden.
She has at least one of the arms, if I'm thinking correctly.
I think she has the arm holding the shield.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I mean, I can't say anything other than I just don't like it. And once again, it's all a matter of opinion. I just don't think the aesthetic really screams out bust to me. It's more of a giant sized chibi that was chopped off at the waist. I think you'd have been better served by putting another chibi that would probably cost less money to produce in its spot. Shipping is actually reasonably and understandable. Let's see, how much is this thing cost?
It's like $20.
$20. Oh, 20 for all three?
Yep.
Yeah. Fuck it. Yeah, that's actually good. And I like 2 out of the 3, and the other one, it's not that I dislike it, it's just one of those. It would be interesting to paint, but I'm not going to go out of my way to paint it. The other 2 actually kind of fall in that realm of, I kind of want to paint that. I might actually back this. I might actually truly. So if you're looking for this one, it's Super Chibi Round 3 by Midnight Heroes. Midnight Heroes is that love-hate relationship. I've talked about them numerous times on the podcast. I've bitched about them. I've given them props on some stuff. I give them props on this. I think the miniatures are a good value, 3 for $20. They actually look good. I think all of them have some form of aesthetic that'll please to different people. That'll be pleasing.
Guess who sculpts them?
It's our good friend, isn't it?
Yep, Heriberto.
What's up, man? I know you listen to the show, so good job on these, man. I really like that. I really like that Ranger chick. I think she's totally badass. I like Shin, too. The other guy, like I said, he's not bad. He's just different. AV, I think, or Av, however you pronounce it. It's one of those that he doesn't scream out to me, paint me, but at the same time, it's not like I hate it. So, honestly, definitely check it out. If you like chibis but don't give a damn about games or anything out, just want some cool chibis to paint, check out this one. If you like a game universe that's going to continuously grow, also check this one out. And if you can always check out Brian Saunders and ask him if he has any of the round 1 and 2 available. Pretty sure he does.
Well, this one round 2, this one says pledge $50 or more, and then you get the round 2 core set.
I guess I could have actually continued to scroll down instead of stopping at the very first pledge.
Oh, actually, you get all 3 core sets. It looks like the Super Chibi
50?
core set and the Super Chibi Round 2 core set. So,
oh well,
for $50, you get all of them.
That's actually not bad. Him and I are actually friends again. Like I said, love-hate relationship.
Speaking about chibis, Ninja Division has released a couple more crossovers, and the Twilight Knight. Woot!
Well, that's technically still a crossover. They've released actually quite a few crossovers. They released a couple expansions to their own lines, and then released a crossover for an anime, and they also released a Kingdom Death crossover for the Twilight Knight. They're all very, very well priced, ranging from $10 to $12. You can also get them in a package deal, which knocks them a little bit below the $10 mark. Shipping
minus the Twilight Knight, which is like $15.
And it is a resculpt.
It is a resculpt.
Yeah. Don't be like me and be like, those dickheads. No, it is a resculpt of the Twilight Knight. It's completely different than the original one. Still, you can definitely still tell it's the Twilight Knight, but she's in a different pose and the base is different. So it's definitely a unique product. It's $15. They haven't said anything about it being limited. So don't be too surprised if it sells out and never comes out again. It might happen, or this might be their unlimited run because of the resculpt. So for the people that have the original one that's jumping, which looks 10 times better, that's still a collector's item. I think if they did it on purpose, I give them kudos for making it where the original still looks better, because to me it does. That pose it has is so dynamic and so just awesome that it really grabs me and goes, this is cool. The new one looks good. It actually looks really good. It's just, it's not as dynamic as the original one. So to me, it doesn't look as good. But I think that's actually a really good thing, because if this one would have looked better than the original one, it would have devalued the original one in a weird sort of way, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah,
no, I'm kind of sad, but you can always scrape the eyes off and repaint them on and stuff. So I'm not too angry. Did I miss
something?
Miss what?
What about the eyes?
Oh, the eyes on the Twilight Knight. It looks like she's more sleepy than she is, like, pissed off.
Oh, the lidded eyes? Yeah, I noticed that. She could also just be annoyed. Because, honestly, half the time when I'm talking to you and I've irritated you, I imagine you with that expression on your face. So, yeah. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Kickstarter that's out that's not Cool Mini or Not, which I couldn't find, surprisingly. I was going to give us an update on its funding, but I couldn't find it. But the elephant in the room is the other big dog that managed to launch at the same time as another big dog, Bones 4. For those people who don't know, Bones is a product of Reaper Miniatures out of Denton, Texas. This is their 4th iteration. They started 3 or 4 years ago putting these out. They release them at a pace of about once a year. And it's funny because I actually called Reaper out personally about them using Kickstarter when they should have enough money now to be able to do it on their own. And it was, I will give Brian over at Reaper Brian, I'll give him props because his answer actually just kind of made me go, well, okay, fuck. I can see that. But the reason Reaper uses Kickstarter, honestly, and this is coming from one of their higher ups' mouths directly, is simply because they say they suck at advertising. Like, seriously, that's what he said. He's like, we suck at advertising, and Kickstarter is the best way for us to get advertising. I was like, really? I was like, well, you know what? I still don't 100% agree with you about using Kickstarter, but I commend you on having what is actually a valid reason. Okay, let's run with it then. But Bones 4 is out. They are like a PVC plasticky type material. It's the Bones material from Reaper. If you're listening to this podcast, I would be surprised if you've never seen a Bones miniature. They are not great for competition painting. They are great if you want very inexpensive miniatures in bulk. They're very inexpensive, and slowly Reaper is changing all of its SKUs over from pewter, because pewter is freaking expensive now, over to the Bones material, because Reaper has always been known for having inexpensive miniatures, even back when they were pewter. So, Yeji, thoughts? No. Rie, thoughts on Bones 4?
Thoughts on Bones 4. I did back it at the $1 level. I know I'm ridiculous.
I did too.
I backed
because
it at the $1 too.
I'm actually, personally, I'm not looking at the core set. I want the add-ons, so I backed it at the $1 as well.
And that's exactly why I did that.
I think a lot of people are. And I think that's one reason, like, okay, this has been on for 9 days, and it's only at 1.1 million. I say that, and people are probably going, only. If you understood the first 3 Bones projects, we're already at like $3 million at this point. So yeah. Only.
Yeah, that was my thing, is my husband and I probably spent the better part of $500 on the Bones 3.
Good God.
We got a lot.
How many Tianauts?
Just the one.
What?
The really big 5-headed dragon, just one.
You know, do you know how much that damn thing retails for?
I know, that's why it's still in the box and sitting on a shelf and just going to sit there. Like,
for those who don't know, it's sold in Bones 3 for $60. And this is to give you a little bit of an idea of how these Kickstarters work. It's sold on the Kickstarter as an add-on for $60. It is retailing for $150. And it's actually, having put one together, is an exceptional deal even at $150.
Yeah.
It's huge, it's ginormous, and it's beautiful.
It totally is. And even in the Bones material, at that size, it's still a really clear sculpt. Right.
I mean, it's capturing the really tiny details where Bones fails. When your smallest detail on the model is like 3 millimeters wide, you're gonna do pretty good with Bones.
Yeah. But I've got the core set, and I don't know, they ran it through however they did it. It was the core set, and then the first little expansion, and then the second little one. And then after that, I kind of stopped, because I was like, well, I got so many of all these ones to do. But after my husband said, hey, are we backing this? It's like, yeah, but not for stuff that I'm already going to have.
Right.
Meaning the core set.
Right. And the core set, for people who have not seen these, once again, I don't see who hasn't, is typically about 100 miniatures, if not more. So when you spend $100, you're getting at miniatures at less than $1 a piece. Bones 1 through 3, I think, ended up at like 140 miniatures. Bones 4 will not, and there's one particular reason why it isn't. And they didn't listen to the podcast or take my advice. Trust me. This is something that I said, and it actually happened, but I know it's not because of something I said. They put a lot more big models in the Bones 4, to include one of their iconic line, their Goth. Goth is a 14-inch tall, typically, well, the box art has it as a blue dragon. I bought a pewter Goth back in 2001, maybe 2000, actually. I think it was back in 2000 I bought a pewter Goth, so I actually have an original Goth, and so it's been around for a hot minute. It's an old sculpt, and it's actually included in the baseline, which kind of made me very sad because I've worked a deal with someone, I do believe. But I actually kind of want a Bones one too, just to kind of be able to compare the two. But a lot of the models in the thing they're bigger, or they're horde monsters, like lots of goblins, like 24 goblins. So that's because let's face it, if you play D&D, which is what a lot of this goes for, who the hell doesn't need goblins? So that was kind of cool. A lot more big monsters, and then they have chibis, and I know fucking Yeji's probably looking at these like, and they're in the core set, and she's just like, damn it.
Oh, people aren't liking the chibis in the core set, and I was like, just fucking send them to me.
I actually don't. I think they would have done better as an add-on myself. I can see why they put Goth in, because Goth is iconic, and she eats up a lot of room inside the Kickstarter, you know. So. But and they've also, to be fair, put in a lot of really, really nice models in as add-ons too. And then they also did something that was really cool, and I like this because before they would include chronoscope models in the core set, and it made no damn sense. They actually made the chronoscope expansion as a separate pseudo Kickstarter add-on for $50. I thought that was genius.
Yeah.
So,
but I love the little dragonlings that they have.
Yes.
And
the dice guys.
The dice guys and the chibis.
I think everyone I've ever talked to actually liked it. Well, no, there was one person I talked to who did not like the dice guys. And if you didn't know, they're a whole bunch of little dice, like D4s, D8s, D6s, and they're dressed up as characters from D&D. Like one's a ranger, one's a bard, one's a wizard, and they're cool. And it's like $12, I think, for the set. Personally, for me, like, okay, so you get the base set. I'm not going to list everything on the base set, but you get Goth, you get a Griffin, you get a Wyvern, you get some Devils, you get a whole bunch of horde creatures like goblins and stuff. So that's always really cool. But add-ons, to me, this is where it shines. You've got a $10 add-on for 6 Wraiths. See, this is the type of deals we're talking, folks. You get 6 Wraiths, which are actually fairly large, for $10. 2 Hill Giants for $10. You get a Nargalth for $15, and he's ginormous. Like, did you check out the video that showed him off?
Nope.
I haven't watched any of the stuff. I'm just I know it's funded, but I'm kind of waiting to see what's released before I start.
It's like 6, okay, this thing is 6 inches tall and 10 inches wide, and it's a $15 add-on. It's huge. It's this big devil. It could easily fill in for one of the bloodletters, or not bloodletters, the Greater Demon of Khorne in a 40K game. That's how big he is. He could easily fill in for one of those. And he actually kind of fits in, too. You've got the High Rollers, which are a $12 option. You have a paint set of 12 paints for $18, which is actually a good deal. You get the Trolls. You get the Rocky the Red, which is 5 dragons for $12. And they're cute little kind of chibi-ish looking dragons. They're good. They're really cool.
I'm getting those.
And the cool thing is that with the pledge manager, the way Reaper has it set up, you can pledge $1 and not pledge anything else, and then go back into the pledge manager and put 12 in and buy the High Rollers. Then later put 15 in, and they take the money right then. Put 15 in and get the turtle, and get a dragon turtle, which is another option, and it's fairly large too. And then put another 15 and get a dragon turtle, and then put 12 and get a red dragon. So you can actually piece buy it too. So if you're on the fence, and you can actually do it with the core set too. You can put $1 in now, decide you want the core set 6 months down the road, or whenever you can actually afford it. And they give you a pretty decent amount of time before they lock down the backer kit too. So the backer kit is open for a long time. But you can put in $1 now, and 5 months down the road, when you got a little bit extra scratch popping around, go, okay, I want the core set now, and go buy it through the pledge manager, and which is absolutely genius. I will say that is one thing that Reaper definitely did, because they paid someone to write their own pledge manager. They don't use the Kickstarter one. So yeah, if you are on the fence, even the tiniest bit on whether or not you're going to get anything off this Kickstarter, go put $1 in. Seriously, go. Even if you're not on the fence, go put $1 in on this Kickstarter, because you never know. One of your friends might be like, damn, I'd love like 3 of those dragon turtles, and you can get them for them. And honestly, like I said, The Tia Knot Dragon that I bought for $60 is selling for $150 now on the website. The Dragon Turtle that's $15, it's probably going to be $30 or $35 when it comes out for retail. That's the type of discount you're getting. And a lot of people were selling the Tia Knot Dragon when they were first delivered on eBay for like $300, $200. And I don't mean they just put them up for that much. They were selling them for that much. So you can actually make a little bit of money off this too. So double thumbs up. It's definitely a kick-ass Kickstarter. I may not like the fact that it's a big company using Kickstarter for it, but at this point I'm kind of over it because Kickstarter lets them fuck it. So definitely it's a kick-ass Kickstarter. Check it out. I'd definitely throw $1 on it because you never know. You might change your mind or you might get into a D&D group and you might need some of those minis.
Now, there is one other thing that I brought up that it's not a Kickstarter, but you thought was kind of cool.
Well, let us know what it is.
The Blue Table Painting Box.
No, it's not Blue Table Painting. First off, it's not. No, it's not.
No, because it's done with another.
No, actually, it's not. Blue Table Painting painted the original miniatures, or some of the original miniatures, but that's as far as Blue Table's involvement goes. All right, I don't remember the name of the actual company that put this out. Go look it up. I'll talk about it. All right, so there's this new service that's coming out, and I thought it was pretty damn ingenious. You have two options. Right now, it's just for D&D, but they might expand into other things, like small tabletop skirmish miniature games, such as War Machine. But what it is you get, it's a loot crate kind of idea where you...
No, it's more of a Gamefly idea.
Oh, well, it's not subscription based. All right. It's a red box. That's what it is. It's red box. Basically you go, oh shit, I got a D&D gaming coming up. I need 50 goblins or I need 20 goblins for it. I don't have the time and I don't want to buy them because I'm not going to use them except for this one time. So they dial up this company and they go, hey, I need 25 goblins. The company goes, okay, you can either buy them for X amount of dollars, or you can rent them for X amount of dollars. Let's say you can rent them, I need 25 goblins. Well, the rental fee will be $20 on them. And if you want to buy them, it'll be 50. Now, don't quote me on these prices. I'm making these up. It's just using them for examples. So don't call them and be like, Larry over at Models Workshop said that this was the price. I want this price. Cause I'll laugh at you. But you go and be like, all right, so I want to rent these miniatures. They come pre-painted, come to your house in a box with styrofoam. You play your game, and when you're done, you pack them back in the box, and you send them back. And that's it. And our buddy over at Mini Grinder Studios is actually the person who is gotten, as far as I know, the exclusive contract, has gotten the exclusive contract to actually paint these, too. So that was actually Higgins, I believe is his last name. Actually, and he is going to be talking to the guy who runs this company. Dave's going to be talking to the guy who runs the company about getting in contact with us to possibly come on the podcast and stuff and talk about it. I thought that was kind of cool. I think he posted about it on Mini Grinder, so I'm trying to find it there too.
I like the idea, but I don't know, what happens then if you rent whatever for however long and then forget about it, and then the minis aren't worth playing anymore. You're just stuck with a bunch of minis, or they're stuck with a bunch of minis.
Well, okay, so just like Redbox in the movie type deal, and that's why I call it like Redbox, is you give them their credit card information. Mm-hmm. And they initially charge you the $20 to rent them, and then once you hit a certain date, the return date, they start I don't know this for 100%, but what I would do if I was the owner of this company is I would start charging a late fee of $1 a day. Or $2 a day, or $3 a day, or $5 a week, or whatever you want to do. And then until you get up to the amount where you've just basically bought the damn miniatures. So like the first couple days that you're late, if you're like, oh shit, I didn't go to the post office, I forgot about them. It costs you a few dollars extra, just like if you rented a movie. If you get to the point where you just bought the damn movie, then the miniatures are yours, and they charge you for the full amount.
That makes sense.
Like that, I don't know for sure that's how it's going to happen. It just makes sense that that's how it's going to happen. If I was running that business, that's how I would set it up.
Which would make sense.
It really does. That's like the only way that that works, you know. Yeah, now you can't find it. It was really funny because he brought it up and I was like, Mini Grinder. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, I know him. I actually have talked with him multiple times. So I reached out to him and was talking about the project. It seems really cool. I really like it. I thought it's not a miniature crate where you get just random miniatures and goodies every month for a subscription fee. It's actually something, and I can honestly see this really taking off, like as a product that is fairly popular, because as a DM, I don't know how many times I was like, well, fuck, I need 40 goblins, but I'm only going to need 40 goblins like maybe once every 2 or 3, 4, 5 years. And I don't really want to buy all those goblins, so I end up using dice. And that's kind of cheap and lame, especially since D&D is a miniature-based game nowadays. So now you can actually go out, rent the goblins you need, and there you go. And then when you're done with them, you just send them back. Does it still cost you money? Yeah. It doesn't cost you as much if you bought all the miniatures and the time and effort to take to paint them. So it's a win-win. And I honestly don't see a problem with it. I think it's actually a great concept.
Yeah, and they're not sending you blanks too. They're all painted.
Yeah. Yeah, they whenever you get them, they're all painted. They're all pre-painted. Now they're tabletop to the word of tabletop. I haven't seen any of the miniatures that he's actually going to be sending out, but he did say that they're very quick paint jobs. They're not going to be anything that's going to win any type of awards. They look good on a gaming board, and that's about where they stop. And that's fine. That's what something like that, you know, if you send me something that's green, has a couple dots for eyes, and has been washed a couple times for highlights, that's probably where you should be at anyways for just a standard D&D game. Maybe a couple details like a belt or something picked out. But yeah, that's kidding.
I can't find it.
I'll reach out to Dave. Actually, you know what? How about I just check my private messages with him?
Because I'm scrolling back through our freaking.
We talk too much to scroll back through.
Dude, I can't scroll back and find something from 3 days ago. The fuck are you talking about? I'm gonna scroll back and find something that we talked about, like quite literally 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
That was 3 months ago.
That was like a week ago.
Yeah.
Okay, it's being put out with the people from Twisted Mango.
That sounds really familiar.
Because that's what it is. I just literally looked up my conversation with him, where I asked him, hey, can you put me in contact with the people from Twisted Mango? Which also seems to be the flavor of a beer and also a bar in North Carolina that had really bad reviews.
Permanently closed.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's an IPA. Maybe Twisted Mango wasn't such a great name of and like everything that's related to the name Twisted Mango has gotten horrible reviews. Like the beer has a horrible review.
You know what's better? So I have a new phone number for my office. And when you look it up, it says like the second thing that comes up is like, this number asked me for sexual favors.
For very
what?
cheap.
Yeah.
Oh, Yeji, you got to change your number before you get too deep in that number. Like, no, and I'm being very serious, because if you have to dead or drop call people or dead call people, and they look that shit up, which a lot of people do, they'll block you. I'd call the phone company and get a new number. Okay, the rental box is called Twisted Mini.
There we go.
And it's by Twisted Mango LLC. Actually, I'm looking at these minis, and they're tabletop. They're definitely tabletop, and they look like bones, maybe. So they're relatively inexpensive. But it looks like they hit like the metallic parts with silver, a couple gold pieces here and there, and then they washed it real good. Which, you know, honestly, that's for what they're offering. That's what it should happen. I guess they're initially going to launch on Kickstarter, which kind of makes me scratch my head. I guess you can buy their boxes outright on Kickstarter. But actually,
I still can't find it. I've looked up Twisted Minis and I don't see it.
Doing it that way might afford them to actually have better stock of minis. If
well,
people are, pledging for that.
I understand, but they're also a rental service. So how do you exactly translate a rental service across Kickstarter? Do you get a coupon book where you can rent, 5 boxes of miniatures for this much money as a discount? I mean, that actually makes sense. That's a way to do it. If you look up at Twisted Mango LLC, Twisted Mango period LLC on Facebook.
See, here's my problem. I was searching Google for it.
Well, that's where you failed. Here, I'll just go ahead.
Yeah, look up Facebook.
Just
I found
check.
it.
Just check Messenger.
I found it. Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, it's a great concept. It's a great idea. I really like it. I think it's actually pretty damn ingenious. I think people will copy it. I actually like their boxes, their box designs that they have coming in that you ship your stuff back and forth in. I thought that's pretty cool, especially if you can get like 5 or 6 trips with a box. So,
because it looks like battle foam in a box,
right? And that's why I'm sitting there. It looks like they talked to Battle Foam and ordered a shit ton of this custom cut foam at a certain size with single miniature slots in it, and they ordered a whole bunch of boxes, a standardized size box that closes like that, and they kind of married the idea, and they can send, I think, 14 miniatures in a single box, unless they're double layered. It actually looks thick enough that you can double layer them too.
So yeah, it looks like they are going to be doing this on Kickstarter, and more than likely it's going to be membership for life or some other thing like that for anyone that does the Kickstarter, and then you get discounted pricing on doing it. Would be kind of, I guess, the way to do it on Kickstarter.
Okay, I mean, that kind of makes sense too.
Yeji did something like that with a yoga thing, and they normally would charge like a monthly fee, but if you got in on the Kickstarter, you paid once and you were a member of it lifetime. But with this, I mean, you still got to cover shipping and everything, so I guess you would get like a huge discount. I assume.
Guess. I don't know. We can reach out to the page and actually ask him. Dave is supposed to be getting in contact with him, but we can message them through their Facebook group now that we found that.
Well, I mean, might as well, because, I mean, it's kind of a cool idea.
I totally agree with it. If Models Workshop was going to do something, they would probably do something like that. Except that I can honestly say with our group of people, they would probably be your player characters. You could probably buy player character packages from us, and they'd be better painted.
Actually, speaking of better painted, Yeji and I are thinking about getting rid of our current standards and just being like, give us a model, we'll paint it to however we're going to paint it, and you pay us this much money.
Some people do that. Some people will only paint to one standard, and that's fine.
Well, I'm going above tabletop like all the freaking time. They're like, oh yeah, I just want tabletop. I'm like, cool. And I go, yeah, here's like your coolly blended force sword, and here's all this edge highlighting, and here's this and that. It's like, wait, this is not tabletop. Fuck.
Yeah, I think we had this discussion a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I can't paint tabletop, so...
I have a hard time painting tabletop, but it's about setting yourself to a method. Like, what is tabletop? Tabletop is 3 colors, a wash, a couple highlights, and that's it. And when you start painting a miniature, you just got to get in your mind, whenever you're painting this, that's all you do. You don't do anything extra. That's all you do. Because at that point...
My tabletop is more Tabletop Plus. My Tabletop Plus is more like HQ. My HQ is more like the best I can do versus like a display level. Right,
but that's the problem is, damn it. I'm looking at my drill set, and one of my 1/16 is missing. Actually, I think that particular 1/16 is in a pin drill. That's I think where it's at. And I've got about 30 1/16 drill bits, so I'm not too worried. I bought some new drills today, so I'm trying to get everything organized. Like, I am the most organized, unorganized person in the world right now, and it's driving me absolutely up the fucking wall. I've got 3 huge plastic shelves. I've got one shelf that's full of nothing but plastic bins that are numbered, that have stuff in them that are related. Like, one bin is full of nothing but tape. I fucking kid you not. It has masking tape, it has packing tape, it has duct tape, it has all that stuff, but all that's in there is tape. You know how I was challenged to do that goth?
Yeah.
I can't find him. I don't know how I found it. I lost a 2-pound, 16-inch tall dragon, but I did. I can't find him.
It would help if you found him.
You think? Like, so that's what I'm saying. I've got everything in place to be super fucking organized, and I'm slowly getting there every time I'm home. Because if you want what my weekly updates are, the reason I don't paint a lot here recently is because I'm still trying to get everything organized in my studio. I got another paint rack, one of those metal 6-tier paint racks that I use. Actually, they're fingernail polish racks if you really want to know. I got a second one of those so I can put my inks and I can put my leftover watercolors that don't fit on the damn original rack over on this one, like a row of metallics, a row of one coats. I got that in. I got a new shelf in. I got the last of the bins that I need to completely fill that shelf up. And I'll find something and it's like, well, what am I going to put in this particular bin? I'm going to put everything that's related to this topic in this bin. And then I mark it on a spreadsheet where it's at. But it's a slow process. It's not something that I can do overnight because I never realized coming out of the effectively an oversized closet that I was in, how much shit I actually have. Holy fuck.
So you're saying you had to come out of a rather large closet, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, you should know better. Yeah, so I came out of a fairly large closet that had a closet in it too. Talk about a paradox. Came out of the closet, in a closet, out of the closet. But
that was in a closet.
That was in a closet.
Which was
Closetception.
That sounded like you were one of those the Disney little guys. The
aliens from
yes, from
Toy Story.
Bakla.
Exactly.
The closet. But, honestly, the closet that was in my old study was the same size as my actual study. And so I moved down here and I was able to spread out. Now, don't get me wrong. I have bought more stuff since then. Instead of a painting desk, I now have 4 desks. Actually, no. I had a painting desk and a computer desk when I was upstairs. Now I have 3 desks. A painting desk, a workshop desk, an unboxing desk, a computer desk, and I got a table behind me that we play games on. And we actually use it too.
And have a desk, and then the desk for the desk.
And then I bought
desk.
I almost feel as if the stuff that I'm buying to help me get organized is actually causing me to become disorganized. Because I've got drawers now. I've got those 3 big ass shelves that are all full of stuff. And it's like, damn. But I am finding stuff that I forgot I had. Like, literally, I found some stuff and I was like, fuck, I didn't even realize I owned this. It's one of those things, it's slowly coming along, and the problem is it's slow. And it's frustrating, and it's just like, I know I own a Goth. I painted it once, and my kid got a hold of it and smeared it with brown paint. And it was real paint, it wasn't like butt paint. Yeah, my 17-year-old, when she was 2 years old, after I finished painting Goth, and this is before I got into airbrushing, so Goth was painted completely by hand. She got a hold of it, grabbed one of my paintbrushes, and smeared brown paint all over it.
Yeah, paint.
Actually, when I find Goth, I need to relay that story to her, so she can feel bad.
Hell, she's already scared of you when you're podcasting.
She's scared of me in general. Her poor girlfriend is fucking terrified of me. It took her 3 days to get up the courage to ask me if she could go to Coldwater when I pick up my daughter from work. I guess I'm just an evil, scary person.
Well, I mean, you are an asshole, so.
Well, why would they even want to go to Coldwater to begin with?
Because that's where my daughter works. She works in Coldwater.
Isn't that the one that shut down?
What?
He's talking about a city. Oh. Not Coldwater Creek is in the store.
That's what I was thinking about.
Wow.
No, my mom used to love that store.
That a 17-year-old work at.
No, my daughter works at an assisted living place in Coldwater. Actually, funny enough, it's the same place my wife works. And my wife's name...
how she got in there.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly how she got in there. No, and it's funny because my wife's name is Kara and my daughter's name is Kira. And now they work... It's bad enough at home with the confusion. Now they're going to have it at work, too. Kara? And both of them are going to go, yes. But, yeah. They work in 2 different departments.
I have a solution to that, but then Kara would hate me, so I'm not going to say it.
I've started calling my daughter Nikki. So... It's just a lot less confusing. Nikki! What? When she actually realizes I'm talking to her. Because no one has called her Nikki, ever.
Is that like a middle name?
Yeah, her middle name's Nicole.
There you go.
Gotcha.
I didn't just like randomly make up a name to call her. Well, actually, yeah, I guess I did whenever she was born, but that's beside the fact. But yeah. One of these days I gotta have the 17-year-old on. Even though people that they're like, we don't like hearing about your family stuff. My wife describes my daughter as a Larry with vagina. So she's very entertaining. She has a very peculiar sense of humor, much like I do. Little less assholey, a little bit more bitchy though. Fitting, I know. All right, so any other news coming out that we need to know about?
I think that's everything for this one.
We didn't talk about a single thing hobbying. Ray, come up with a question. Come on. Put you on the spot.
Oh, I did have a good one actually. When it comes to doing paint competitions, especially because ReaperCon is coming up, is it beneficial to do more than one piece? You know, try to spread yourself out and get into as many categories, or just focus on that one and put all your time and effort into it?
It really depends.
I hope so, because I'm putting more than one in.
I say this is my take on it. As long as you're doing all that you can on, okay, don't do 3 mediocre pieces and enter them, because you're not going to win. What you want to do is you want to work on a piece and finish it until it's done. Eventually you come to that point where you work on a piece and it's just not doing anything to it anymore. You're not improving it. You hit that absolute maximum plateau. Is it your 100%? Probably not, but you just hit that plateau. And what you want to do at that point is you put that piece up and you start working on another one. Should you always plan on putting more than one piece in if you're capable? Yes. And you plan for 15 different pieces, even if all you got is, I'm going to do a diorama of Jason holding a machete over a dead body. If that's all you get to the planning stage, awesome. Do 15 ideas like that. Pick the one that you think that you can do the best on and work on it. And that's going to be your primary model. Then, after you do your primary piece and you get that plateau where you just don't think you're going to get any better, you move on to the second one that you think you're going to be able to do the best. Or target for something different. The first one, it's going to be an open category piece, and you're going to give it your total go. Your second piece, you're going to target a category that isn't as popular as the rest of them. Why? Because it's not as popular as the rest of them, so there's going to be less entries, so you have a higher chance of placing. And then once you plateau on that piece, then you move on to the third piece. I think, honestly, 3 to 4 pieces for a competition is a pretty good number. I think, honestly, if you really try to aim for more than that, you're probably going to sacrifice quality for your typical painter. I'm not talking about those freaking speed painting wow type people. But also keep in mind, that's also planning out for multiple competitions. If you only go to a single competition and you're painting for an entire year for that competition, then 12 pieces, you could, anywhere from 6 to 12 pieces, I think is a fair number. But yeah, I think you honestly should always plan for multiple, because you don't know how things are going to go. You might be able to finish one and then get super fucking busy and not be able to do any more. And then you have stuff planned for the next year. Or you might get done with the first one and then move to the second one and knock it out real quick and be like, wow, and then move on to the third one and do the same over and over and over until you have 6 pieces that you honestly believe are going to do well in a tournament. And honestly, don't not enter a piece just because you don't think it's going to do well. You never know what's going to happen. You might make first cut with it when you didn't think you were going to do anything. It was like what Sinjin said. He thought he was going to get letters of appreciation at the modeling expo with his pieces, and he ended up taking 3 bronzes.
Well, and you know how pissed he would have gotten though if he didn't get a bronze?
No, I talked to him. That's in his mind, he was originally shooting for letters of appreciation, because even those were hard to get. A lot of people don't realize that the Painting World Expo, people look at bronze and are like, oh, okay, no, bronze is a fucking bitch to get. Like Aaron Lovejoy, and Aaron Lovejoy is a Slayer Sword winner. Aaron Lovejoy took a silver. That's the competition there is fucking nuts. So taking a bronze, even taking a letter of appreciation home from the expo is a big deal. Medaling, even if it's a bronze, is a fucking ginormous deal. And he honestly didn't think that any of his pieces were going to get a bronze. He said he thought that Kidget was going to have the best chance of taking home a medal. And he ended up medaling with all three. And that's the type of competition. And you look at who won silvers, and you'll recognize a lot of the big names in the miniature painting community. A lot of big names only took quote air quotes, only took a silver. And these are people who take crystal brushes, Slayer swords, golden demons, and the competition painting of the like. So they took silvers. He got bronzes. That's a big fucking deal. And I mean, once you move into the gold categories, that's the shit that I saw that won gold is the type of shit that I look at and go, why do I paint? Why do I paint? That the details, like it'll be like bird. It'll be a fucking bird, and every feather is individually painted. And beyond every feather being individually painted, every little hair and every little vein on there is individually painted. That's the type of shit that gets gold. That's the type of shit that you work an entire year on a single model. So
I don't know if I've spent more than 6 hours on any given model.
I've spent 40 on a single miniature. So, honestly, plan for 15 or 20, and then work on, and then put them in an order and start working on them. And when you hit that plateau where you don't think you can do anything, or you get burned out, if you get burned out working on a miniature, move to the second one and start working on it, and then move back to the first one and finish it. Because sometimes working on another piece will make you realize what you were missing on that first piece.
Yeah.
That's another good reason to work on more than one piece. And keep doing that until you get it done. Now, if you enter multiple painting competitions like Reaper and Crystal Paintbrush, and you don't double up your entries, then simply, aim for 3 or 4 pieces for each of them. If you only enter Reaper or if you only enter Crystal Paintbrush, then saying that you're going to enter 6 is not that too far of a stretch, because that gives you 2 months per miniature. That's a pretty relaxed pace to paint a miniature.
Yeah.
So, to answer the short version of your answer is yes, I think you really should enter more than one, but don't sacrifice, don't take shortcuts to enter more than one piece. Paint to your fullest of capability to enter on all 3 of them, except for maybe the last one. If you don't quite get done with the last one, but it looks pretty damn good anyways, go ahead and enter it. But on the first few that you do, they shouldn't be slacked on. Only the last one, if you happen to hit that deadline and be like, well, I got to stop. Like you're at the show painting, which Mocha didn't she? Was it Mocha?
Yeah, she finished up her sci-fi thing while she was still here.
Yeah, didn't she take best of show with it?
Best of sci-fi, yeah.
Yeah, because that's Mocha would probably start a miniature that morning going, shit, I don't have a sci-fi entry, and take best of sci-fi. Because, and it kills me because she still doesn't. I don't think she still realizes how good she is. It kind of blows my mind.
She's super humble about it, and I think that's part of the Asian upbringing.
I think she also has no time to paint lately.
Yeah, she has been busy. I talked to her a little bit, and she said that she's been crazy busy. I talked to Aaron a couple days ago, and the Miniature Monthly thing is just fucking just wow. And I have to applaud them because I think they use Patreon as a subscription service in the best way possible. People who are on the $5 tiers get a good deal. People on the $10 deal get a good deal. Everyone, I've not heard one person say that they were displeased with what they got for how much they paid. So kudos to them. And no, they did not pay us to say anything like that. This is not an advertisement. This is just honest feeling and passing along the information. I've not heard one person complain about what they got for their money, but I know it's keeping him hellaciously busy, but seems like they're doing pretty good with it though. Can't complain.
I mean, it helps that they're doing raffles and giving out painted miniatures done by them to their patrons. Lucky patron.
Honestly, I look at what they're doing. as everyone knows, I'm a pretty opinionated bastard who's not afraid to say, like, oh, I think that this would be better if they did it this way. I look at their business model and I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how I would do it. That is awesome. That is exactly how I think it should be done. Like, it's not too expensive. You got multiple tiers. They have constant content. They have raffles for some really nice shit. That, you know, if you can only spend $5, you still get quality content. You get over $5 for the content for $5. You get well over $10 for the content for $10. And both of the people that are involved in it or both of the painters that are involved in it are exceptionally talented. The person who's behind the camera and the editing is exceptionally talented. It's a winning combination all the way around. I applaud them. I think what they're doing is absolutely stellar.
There's a third painter that's now been added, by the way.
Okay, I was not aware of that. No, actually, you mentioned it to me, but I had forgotten. So please let our people know. So,
Matt DiPietro is also now a part of Miniature Monthly.
See, and that's the great part about it, because, okay, so what they could have done is, oh, I know him. Okay, what they could have done is just keep it the way it is. And even though they've gained more and more patrons and everything else, they could have just kept it the way it was. But instead of doing that, they use the extra money that they have to hire another person, which, once again, I applaud them, because people were giving them the money that they were giving them with just the talent that they had. And they were still gaining patrons. They didn't need to add anybody, and people would have still been happy with what they have. But instead of doing that, instead of, oh, that's funny. Instead of pocketing the money, they're passing it around and they're hiring more people, and they're improving the product and making it even a better deal. So, yeah, Miniature Monthly, if you have an extra $5 to kick around and you want some damn good content, after, of course, you know, Models Workshop, you definitely need to check them out. But with that, is there any other thing that we need to talk about? Did I answer your question?
Absolutely.
Cherryberry. All right. Do either of you have anything to add on the on that particular question? Especially since you guys actually enter more painting competitions than I do.
I've entered one, so we'll see how it pans out.
In recent times, that's more than I've entered. You know, it's been a while since I've actually had the time to go enter a painting competition. But no, you've entered more than that. You've entered two LVOs at least, at a very minimum.
Oh, I don't count the last LVO though. That was
no. Oh, that's right. That, yeah. But no, in all seriousness, do you have anything to add on that?
No.
Not really. It's just a matter of, I mean, you don't want to hedge your bet all on one, because sometimes someone might see it and they'll be like, oh, yeah, it's cool, but, I mean, they could have done so much more. But you don't want to flood the market as well with, like, tons of things, because then you're basically, like, kind of competing with yourself if you make up more than, like, a fifth of all the entries in that one area.
Well, most painting competitions, you can't enter more than one piece in a particular category anyways. So, also, yeah, and Clint actually brings up a really good point. Even if they do allow you to enter multiple things into a single category, I would honestly not put more than 2, and I'd be hesitant on that. You really probably should do like a sci-fi miniature, a historical miniature, a bust, a chibi, a vehicle, an ad mech, and kind of shop yourself around, because not only does it showcase your various talents, it also makes it where people don't get burned out looking at your shit in a single category.
Which makes sense.
And you're employing a little bit of the shotgun method. Yeah.
And also, if you are really seriously trophy hunting, if you're trophy hunting, look at the historicals, and not miniatures, but the historicals as in the record of what's been happening over the previous few years, and get a good idea what categories are kind of dead. Like, if you are going to a games day, for example, and you're really trying to get a golden demon, don't enter sci-fi single mini. Don't enter sci-fi group. Don't enter open unless you're insanely talented, because those are the hottest competitions around. Single miniature sci-fi for Crystal Paintbrush is the same way. It is the single most entered competition. It's incredibly difficult even to make it past the first cut. Because here's a little word or a little thing to think on. If every category gets 10 miniatures that make first cut, and in single miniature you get 120 entries, but in single fantasy you get 20, that means only like 7% of single sci-fi will make day one cut, and 50% of historical will make day one cut. Something to think about. So, if you want bragging rights or you're trophy hunting, look at the historicals, see what is the lightest competition, and enter there and paint that type of stuff. Because sometimes all you need to go is, I won 2 golden demons, and shit seems to rain down on you. People rarely ask what categories you won your golden demons in. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. I actually have a blue ribbon first place from a crystal brush competition.
Yeah, I've seen that picture, actually.
Yeah, that was Cool Mini or Not Expo, so it's not even like actual crystal brush. It's Road to Crystal Brush, and I had been looking at the crystal brush competition that happened just before that, and I'm like, oh, there wasn't a lot of like chibi entries, so hey, I'm gonna do that. And I was literally the only one that had pre-painted my chibi. The other 3 entries were painted there from the take and paint like table,
like entered as an afterthought.
Yes. So mine had a base. Mine was pre-done. So I feel like I won by default, but I do get to at least say I have a nice little blue ribbon. And it wasn't a bad painted mini. I don't have a lot of good close-up shots of her, but, I still look at it and go, damn, I painted that? Cool.
And also we could talk about the merit of painting competitions, but that would go into a completely different realm, and we're kind of going long as it sits. One of these days, we need to talk about the merit of painting competitions, like how they rank up in merit. Like someone going, I won first place at Crystal Brush versus I won first place at Gen Con, and how that weighs up.
Speaking of competitions and stuff, though, LVO is last weekend of January this coming year, 2018, and I will be teaching. I still have a couple of days left to submit any class plans and whatnot. So if anybody wants to see a specific class from me other than chibi with a focus on eyes and hair, let me know.
I don't think you should sell yourself short. I think you should enter yourself for a few more classes. Yeji Meister. Actually, you know what? I think Clint has progressed to a point where he should probably do a class.
Malifaux.
Yeah, I'm going to be running Malifaux that entire weekend, so no.
So you can't do anything that'll actually make you money. You're just going to be a slave.
No, that still makes some money.
We'll see.
Possibly.
God, that'd be nice. I have never made money being an RTO for a game. It's usually volunteer. Typically they send you free models. That's how companies pay you. Which for some people that's some pretty cool stuff. Because GW back in the day, whenever you had the Outriders, you had to have 2 painted armies to become an Outrider. But once you became an Outrider, they would send you shit for free, like the new models. They'd send you an army of the new stuff if you're a regional Outrider, to paint and play, to hype the game, to hype the new army that came out. And they'd send you a list that was almost unbeatable. It was, yeah. But that was a good way of getting free Games Workshop shit. But thanks everyone for joining in. If you want to reach out to us on all of our different socials, you can find us over on the YouTubes at youtube.com/users/Gen24. You might be listening to the podcast on there. We do actually put it on YouTube as well, because a lot of people on T-Mobile have free streaming for YouTube, but they don't have it for podcasts, or they might be able to reach it over on their Xbox because we're funny as shit. So if you're listening to us on the YouTube, smash that little red fucker over in the corner to subscribe to us. If you want, hit that bell. to notify us. You can also find us on Twitch TV. That's twitch.tv/Models Workshop Podcast. Make sure to hit that subscribe button over there so it will notify you whenever we go online with our online classes. And we are open for questions whenever we are streaming online, so make sure to swing over and feel free to ask. Maybe we can show you some awesome techniques, or we can show you what we're painting currently. You can also, on the regular socials, find us at facebook.com/The Models Workshop. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at /NWH Podcast. And you can find Yeji and Clint over at Snickernack's Studio on both of those as well. Ray Bay, do you have any socials that you want to pass out?
I am just on Facebook, but it's not a whole ton of stuff that I post there, but it is Reminiatures.
And spell that for people?
RIE Miniatures.
And if you want some nice smelling stuff, contact Rie for Posh as well.
Yeah, that's a new obsession.
And if you're in Nevada and you need insurance, make sure to give Yeji a shout out, because she'll be able to hook you up and give you the best deal possible.
Actually, I can't guarantee that, but I'll at least let you know if you have any gaps in coverage.
There you go. And you're also, if you're in the casinos, don't cheat, because Clint will be watching you, and he'll get you arrested.
Not all the casinos, just one.
All right. And if you're in the Northeast and you see a semi rolling through, get the hell out of my way, because I'm tired of y'all dumbasses not knowing how to drive. Love all y'all.
Bye. Boy.
Bye. No, Rie, you gotta be like, bye.
Bye.
Damn. Deeper voice than me. Thank you for joining us for another great episode of Models Workshop After Hours, your one-stop podcast for laughs and great painting advice. We come out at least every other week, barring emergencies and holidays, of course, covering a wide variety of hobby topics and basically talking about life in general. When you're not listening to us through your favorite podcatcher, you can find the entire crew hanging out at facebook.com/The Models Workshop. That's all one word smushed together, sharing all the cool things that we find floating around the internet and giving out painting advice. You can also find Larry on Twitter and Instagram at MWAH Podcast, and Yeji and Clint at the same at Snickernack, which is NICKERNACK. If you like what we do, please make sure to drop a quick review on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or whatever service you listen to us on. This helps us out greatly and gets the word of the After Hours out to everyone. Models Workshop is done out of pocket. We have no advertisers because we like to be able to be completely truthful with you. If you want to make a donation to help us out, you can at paypal.me/Models Workshop, or you can do a monthly service at patreon.com/Models Workshop. Once again, thank you for listening. Until next time, grab those brushes, paints, and get to painting.